Welcome back to Rougher Football here on TV 15. Bill Huddleston, along with the coach of the Muskogee Roughers, Rafe Watkins. Number 8 in the books and a guaranteed home playoff advantage in week number 1.
That's the most important thing. You know, after the Shawnee game, we kind of was questioning that, but we did say at least we've got it all still out there for us, and our kids, to their credit, you know, got a tough, hard victory against Booker T, and then last week played really well against a much better than what their record shows Bartlesville team.
Right.
We talked about how good offensively they were going to be, and they certainly were. They scored 27 points, and that quarterback is just, he throws the ball so well, and they got a good scheme. I told Coach Sport after the game, I said, I don't know who's calling your offense, but I said he's doing a great job, and he appreciated it. He told me the name of the assistant, but he said they have been doing it good. He said we just can't stop anybody, and fortunately, you know, we score 44 and have 3 touchdowns called back, and you know, if those scores go right there, which 2 of them should have, you know, you're sitting here going 66-27. But as it turned out, the main thing is it was a win. All we had to do is win by 1. We won by 17, and now we have a guaranteed. You know, we're playing with house money right now.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
just got to go over and like I told the kids afterwards, we're not having to play the number 1 team in the state. We get the opportunity to play the number 1
Right.
team in the state and see where we're at, you know, and kind of gauge. We want to be in that elite status too, so let's see where we're at.
Well, certainly the Roughers, with a 44-27 win over Bartlesville, have accomplished one of the many goals that they set for themselves, and that was to be in the postseason and to be playing at home in week number 1. And what a night it was for the senior class. A couple of guys had great evenings. Connor Ashley had a couple of great defensive plays.
Right.
And then Jimmy Coleman, if it weren't for those penalties, Coach, he would have been the first running back, and I don't know how long, to eclipse the 300 mark in rushing.
Yeah, he had 288 for the night on 24 carries, 3 touchdowns, had 2 touchdowns called back, and just on those 2 touchdowns was over 60 yards. So he had been around the 350 mark. Jimmy just continues to excel. I mean, he's amazing. And people, again, we didn't say a whole lot about it, but he was only about 85-90% last week because of a hip flexor. That's why he was on the bicycle on the sideline, which if you saw that, you know, from the stands, you saw him over there riding every time he got over it, keep that loosened up. But I'll take Jimmy Coleman at 90% over most people at 100% anytime, and he's just a tremendous. And again, our offensive line balked really well too.
They certainly did.
But Jimmy, some of those runs, the one where he was off balance and skipped from right leg to left leg and then ran backwards for about 6 yards and then spun and went in. That's one of the more amazing runs I've seen in my life.
I think you need to take the bike to Bixby this Friday night.
We will be. He'll go with us. It'll travel.
Anywhere the Roughers go, the bike will travel as well. But let's take a look back at last Friday night's senior night victory over the Bartlesville Bruins. Got some highlights for you, Coach?
Well, this is after he had already ran down there and got us to about the 1. I think here's the second score he comes through. And again, he's just so fast. Good job of blocking out on the perimeter by Jordan. And then this little stutter step and stuff. People just don't realize how strong he is. And it still just amazes me he's only got a couple of offers at this point in time, because he is, I'm not sitting here going to try to say that he's a Division I tailback, but every Division II school in the state of Oklahoma ought to be offering that kid. You saw Davion Williams with a big run. With a big tackle. Here's Connor Ashley. After Connor had already recovered the first quarter fumble, now he gets an interception. Just a big night for Connor. And then here's Ty getting in. They called it a horse collar originally, but since he fell forward, they waved the flag off. Here's a great hit. I have a hard time with that. They throw a flag, and they said, Coach, it was clean, but it just looked bad. Well, when did we start calling look bad a penalty? I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to get on my soapbox right now, but I don't know what we're doing to football. I understand about the headshots, but that was not a headshot. It was clean. It's exactly how you call it. There's Connor with a big catch. This is going down right before halftime. Here's another good pass to Kentrell Mitchum. You know, we had the drops for a while. We had a couple of drop touchdowns, a drop first down. Receivers have got to do a lot better job this week of catching the ball. We can't have any drops this week against Bixby, but was able to overcome them. Started the second half, Jimmy coming out and gets about a 45-yard run here to start it. And again, he's just dragging people, and those kids were not small from Bartlesville. Bartlesville had good team speed and size. Here's the play I'm talking about, where he skips to one leg, runs backwards, and then goes through. This one ends up ultimately getting called back, but my gosh, what a talent.
Indeed, it was a good night for Jimmy C. I mean, he just refuse to go down. And
he's up for Player of the Week in the Tulsa paper again this week.
He certainly deserves it.
He got it last time. He's up there by the staff's choice. Good play by J. Reed Hagerman here. I mean, he is alert and got the onside, and then we put the nail in the coffin basically right here. Anytime that they got a little momentum going, Jimmy pretty much shut it down.
Indeed, and then your defense just again comes back and just continues
Plays
to do.
very well against the run. Caleb Webb with a lot of tackles, and again, Hagerman had another good game. There you see big boy Davion getting through and making some great plays.
There's a guy that Rafe should have a good college opportunity too, Davion Williams.
Davion will. He's undersized for the big boys as far as, he weighs enough and he's strong enough, but they want, here's Jordan. This is the thing that we know Jordan can do. He's a big, strong kid. He's just got to catch the ball first and then run. He's going to be tough to tackle, and that's the things he can do. We just got to do a little bit better job of concentrating on the ball at times.
Yeah, I held my breath here, Coach.
Yeah, normally, you don't worry about it, but after last week, which we had our guy in there catching it then, and so we was going to be fine. And it wasn't raining near as hard.
Absolutely. It was a time for celebration for the Ruffers because they knew they were not only going to the playoffs, but 21 seniors would get at least one final opportunity to play wearing the green and white at Indian Bowl after the victory over Bartlesville. Coming up this week, though, perhaps the biggest test of all. The Bixby Spartans will be on the Ruffers' schedule Friday night at Lee Snyder Stadium. After a break, Coach Watkins and I will come down and kind of break down a scouting report on a team that has put up a lot of points and beaten teams by a whole lot of points. We'll talk about that after a timeout here on TV 15. Back on TV 15, Bill Huddleston with the coach of the Ruffers, Rafe Watkins. At the start of the season, Coach, if they told you you'd be 8-1 going to Bixby to play for the district title, you'd say, load them up, let's go.
Yeah, we would have taken it. And, we really realistically thought that was a good chance that we could have. We knew that there were going to be some – I wouldn't have thought if it was the Shawnee game that we lost, but, in their plan, we figured that if we could get going that Midwest City and, of course, Booker T would be tough ones in there. But we're where we want to be. All we wanted was the chance. We knew that Bixby's going to be the team to beat, and they are. Certainly outstanding like they have been the previous 5 years in the district. But they're rolling. They're doing it a different way than what they have in the past. When they first got here, they had the big old lineman that was going places, and you had the roller kid that looked like a lineman carrying the ball, and they would just bloody your nose. And now they're spreading you all out and just throwing the ball to some playmakers. The Presley kid, I've bragged on him so many years. I'm glad he's finally a senior. Of course, he's got a little brother coming. It's going to be great too. But,
yeah, he does.
But the Presley kid is just absolutely amazing. They flip it out to him, and it's the perfect deal. It's just an extended running game. You get him out there quick in the flats, or you throw a bubble to him, and then he's liable to turn it into an 80-yard touchdown. And that's what's smart about it. I mean, Bixby's doing a great job of coaching because they're getting it in their playmakers' hands. I don't know what Lauren would say. I mean, I'd mean this with all due respect. This is not their most physically and gifted team, I don't think, that they've had over there in the 5 years that we've played them. They've had some big, monstrous teams that would just wear you out. But what they're doing, these kids, what I will say on them, I think this is the hardest working team he's had. These kids never take a down off. You can't find, and that's what Coach Graham and I was talking about this morning. You can usually on even good teams say, okay, we're going to have to get after that kid right there. There's their weak link. You can't find one on their team. They don't have that star other than Presley, and then I went blank on their other kid that's going to OSU, number 2. But those kids are stars. But there's just no weak link on their defense or offense, either one. They just all make plays. They get it out of there quick. We're going to have to change our practices a little bit as far as we're going to have 2 huddles going at our defense this week, because they can go in a speed-up mode, and they're snapping it every 8-10 seconds. And so we've got to be ready. And that's what's so good about them is they make you play your base defense, because you can't sit there and see what they're going to be in and adjust like we have with all this check you, check me stuff that we've been seeing all year long with people coming up the line and they check back to their coaches. And we had time to change our defenses. They had their play ready, and they go, and they're snapping it and going. So we've got to be ready defensively. It's going to be a huge, huge challenge for us. And again, I think the biggest thing with the Bixby kids is we've got to match their intensity level with ours. They play so hard, and every one of their kids are flying to the ball, both sides of the ball, and so we've got to match that intensity level to have a chance.
Well, everybody wants to talk about how many points they score, and they have put up a record-setting amount. But the margin of victory has just been overwhelming, and that's due in part to a defense that will come after you on every snap, whether you run the football or throw it.
Well, it's just like Booker T's. They have the convenience of having 2 Division I corners that they can lock down man and put that extra guy in the box to run, and it makes it tougher, and especially like for us, because everybody knows we want to run the ball, and we've been good at doing that. But we've got to have some receivers step up this week and say, okay, we know that those 2 can probably cancel out anybody we have. I mean, that's just a given. That's why they got a Division I offer at OSU. But some of our other 2 receivers has got to step up and play big this week. We've got to have some catches. We can't have the drops we had last week. We got to play near perfection, and that's what we're expected to do anyway. And so we got to go out and do that. I still think that we'll be able to run the ball some. I do. I just trust in our offensive line and Jimmy and Ty back there. We can do some things that I think can help us in the run game, but we can't just only run the ball. We've got to be able to throw it some this week. And if we can do that, then, we'll see what happens. Big thing is, like you said, is I think they've only been behind one time this year, and that was in the first game. It was like 13-7, and then they ended up winning 77-44. So they scored a ton of points, but I think that their defense ought to get as much recognition as anybody too, because they've held Booker T to 0 points. I think, we talked about how good Bartlesville's offense was. I think they only gave up 6 points to them. And so they're very good defensively as well. And, of course, their special teams, they've always got a kid that can kick it and put it in the end zone every time they kick off. So there's just really no weak spots, and they're also very well coached.
But the Ruffers have some of your own stars as well, and I'll just give credit to you and your staff. They're very well coached as well.
Well, I appreciate it. I hope so. We feel like they are, and our kids listen, and it's a smart group that we have right now. They understand the game. We can add more to it than what we have been able to with some teams in the past, because they understand football a little bit more. And we are, our stars that we have, that we consider our stars, are going to have to really step up, and that's what they do in the big games. Your big-time players have to step up and make plays, and so we've got to do that. Jimmy's going to have a big game. Offensive line's going to have to block. Davion's going to have to control the line of scrimmage. Webb and our other linebackers are going to have to play well, and our secondary is going to have to step up and play lights out to have a chance.
And you never know who that unsung hero is going to be, and there's several of those guys that throughout the year, from time to time, on a series or on a particular game, have been able to come up and make those game-changing moments. J. Reed Hagerman's one. Yeah. Darian Davis has been a really good linebacker for you. And a guy that, your other 2 guys in that front with Caleb and Wendell, those guys have made plays from time to time. If they come out and become a superstar effort Friday night, you're in the ballgame.
Right. And one other thing that we're overlooking right now, I'm sure proud of old Jacob Scheihing for hitting that 31-yard field goal the other night. That gave him some confidence and stuff that he's been needing. And so, there's going to be times that you stall out that you got to be able to have confidence in your kicker to get you a field goal, and that went a long way for him and for us.
Kentrell Mitchell's done a great job of not
only
putting the ball up high and allowing the coverage to get downfield, but he's also had almost a 40-yard average.
Yes, I think he is right now averaging 40.7. It got as high as 42.6 for a while, but anytime in high school that you can average over 38 with punting, especially as high as he gets it gives you a chance.
Certainly give you a chance to get down there in the coverages. So, Ruffer football fans, this is what you've been waiting for, an opportunity to play for the championship. It means that you need to make the drive to Lee Snyder Stadium. Be there Friday night at 7 o'clock when it all kicks off. But if you have a acceptable excuse, in my opinion, not to be there, hope that you'll join us for the live stream coverage on MuskogeAthletics.com or tune in on the radio at 101.7 Okie Country KTFX. Rafe, let's go make it 9, and let's bring home a district title and be ready for the playoffs.
Get ready for the playoffs, correct.
Head coach Rafe Watkins, I'm Bill Huddleston. Until we meet again, remember Muskogee wins every day the rougher way, because it's always a great day to be a Ruffer.